2026 NFL free agent market is deep on offensive linemen.
Number one free agent that is out there, and we're heading to Baltimore, none other than Tyler Linderbaum.
With the 2026 NFL new league year quickly approaching, how about we dive into some fresh predictions on where the top 25 free agents will land? George Pickens, Dallas Cowboys. Pickens had a career year in his first season with the Cowboys, notching 93 receptions for 1,429 yards and 9 touchdowns. There's the number 2 receiver to CeeDee Lamb that Dallas has long searched for. Ideally, the two sides would agree to a long-term extension. At the very least, he's most certainly getting the franchise tag, which would keep him off the free agent market. Jerry Jones makes the wrong call far more often than not, but even Jerry won't screw this one up. Pickens isn't going anywhere, at least for 2026. Trey Hendrickson, Baltimore Ravens. The dysfunctional Cincinnati Bengals obviously have no plans to keep Hendrickson long-term. He'll be the most sought-after defensive player on the market. But the Ravens are the ideal landing spot for multiple reasons. First off, they've just got more money to spend. And, stealing Hendrickson away from a division rival? Oh yeah, that's a double whammy for Baltimore. Daniel Jones, Indianapolis Colts. If Jones didn't suffer a season-ending Achilles tear, there would have been zero question about Indy extending him long-term. An extension is no longer a certainty, but the Colts would be foolish not to at least place the franchise tag on him. The tag is probably Indy's best option. See if 2025 was a fluke, or if Jones really found his niche here. If it's the latter, then Danny Dimes can sign his long-term extension next offseason. Tyreek Hill, Kansas City Chiefs. Once the Miami Dolphins announced that they were releasing Hill, well, he bolstered a relatively thin wide receiver free agent market. Hill will be 32 next season and coming off a gruesome season-ending ACL tear. He won't get a long-term deal, but reuniting with the receiver-needy Chiefs on a one-year contract with incentives makes a ton of sense for both sides. Tyler Linderbaum, New York Giants. The fit just makes way too much sense. Linderbaum can reunite with John Harbaugh, and the Ravens are likely to engage in a bidding war for a 3-time Pro Bowler. The Giants have money to spend and must protect rising star quarterback Jackson Dart. And, oh yeah, Linderbaum's elite run blocking would help Cam Scatterbo take his game to a whole nother level. Devin Lloyd, Cincinnati Bengals. The pressure is on the Bengals to rebuild a contender around Joe Burrow, so notoriously cheap owner Mike Brown better be ready to spend in free agency. Lloyd will likely price himself out of Jacksonville after a career year that saw him record 5 interceptions, 7 pass breakups, and 1.5 sacks. He could be the game-changing force that the Bengals D will need with Trey Hendrickson on his way out. Jalen Phillips, Buffalo Bills. Bills GM Brandon Beane could lose his job next year if they endure another early playoff exit, so expect him to be ultra-aggressive in free agency this year. Beane has gotten a close-up look at the explosiveness of the ex-Dolphin and pending Eagles free agent. Phillips would immediately slot in as the Bills' top edge rusher under new head coach Joe Brady. Breece Hall, Houston Texans. As much as CJ Stroud struggled in 2025, it's not like he had much support in the ground game. Hall should be keen on signing with a contender after having his first 4 seasons wasted by the lousy New York Jets. Hall is a consistent threat for 1,500 yards of offense and would take a lot of the pressure off an unreliable Stroud. Dafe Elway, New England Patriots. The Patriots' lavish offseason spending spree a year ago led to an AFC Championship banner. They'll be aggressive again this year, and adding another stud edge rusher like Odafe Elway to complement Christian Barmore and Milton Williams on the D-line could take this defense to another level. Kenneth Walker III, Seattle Seahawks. Walker's beast mode postseason, culminating in a championship ring and Super Bowl 60 honors, should land him a long-term deal from the Seahawks. Yeah, Seattle could let Walker go and find a cheap replacement, but we haven't seen a lot of running backs have the type of postseason that he just had. Why not run it back with the same core on offense? Gotta think that Walker stays in Emerald City. Kyle Pitts, Atlanta Falcons. Pitts would probably love to hit free agency and cash in ASAP, but the Falcons can't let him walk for nothing in free agency. After 3 straight underwhelming seasons, Pitts looked like his 2021 superstar self again with 88 catches for 928 yards and 5 touchdowns. Having hired an offensive guru head coach in Kevin Stefanski, how could Atlanta let Pitts walk now? He's getting the franchise tag or a multi-year extension from Atlanta. Mike Evans, Buffalo Bills. We know how much Evans wants to finish his career in Tampa, but given his age and injury history, along with the emergence of Emeka Egbuka, the Bucs' best bet is to let someone else overpay in free agency. agency. You know, Josh Allen sorely needs a number 1 receiver, and Evans is still one of the game's best deep threats. He could open up Buffalo's passing game and help Dalton Kincaid and Khalil Shakir shift to the more suitable number 2 and 3 pass-catching roles. Aaron Rodgers, Pittsburgh Steelers. Early reports are that Rodgers loved his time in Pittsburgh and is keen on a return. Having a more offensive-oriented head coach like Mike McCarthy rather than Mike Tomlin might further motivate Rodgers to return to Pittsburgh. Another 1-year deal with incentives seems to be the play here. Pittsburgh could even draft a quarterback and have him learn behind Rodgers before taking over the reins. Alec Pierce, Denver Broncos. The Broncos might have won the AFC Championship if they had a real secondary threat to complement Courtland Sutton. Well, this is their chance to get their man, with Pierce likely to hit free agency. Pierce had a career year in 2025, catching 47 passes for 1,003 yards and 6 touchdowns. As one of the game's most dynamic deep threats, Pierce would be the final piece needed to fully unlock Bo Nix's potential and get Denver back to the Super Bowl. Travis Etienne Jr., New York Jets. If the Jets don't retain Breece Hall, they can lean on a solid Plan B option like Etienne, who has a similar career body of work. Etienne will likely price himself out of Jacksonville, and the Jets are loaded with cap space. They can afford to overpay Etienne here and have him slot in as their new RB1. Rasheed Walker, Cleveland Browns. Cleveland will have plenty of cap space to reshape its O-line. Veterans Wyatt Teller, Jack Conklin, Joel Bitonio, Cam Robinson, and Ethan Posick are all pending free agents, and we'd be surprised if more than one of them returned. The Browns can commence the O-line makeover by signing the well-rounded Green Bay Packers star, Braden Smith, Green Bay Packers. Since Smith is 4 years older than Walker, Green Bay would probably be able to get the Colt star at a much lower price. And he would be a slight upgrade at offensive tackle here. Green Bay could look at finding Walker's replacement in the draft if he walks to free agency, but with the pack and win now mode, and with an intense NFC North arms race on the horizon, why not take one of the league's more polished veteran tackles? Rashid Shaheed, Seattle Seahawks. Shaheed added more explosiveness to Seattle's passing game and special teams return game after coming over via trade. Having helped the Hawks to a Super Bowl, it would be a surprise if they didn't bring him back on a new deal. Seattle won't find a much better special teams returner if he leaves. And with Cooper Kupp showing his age, Shaheed can slot in as a reliable number 2 receiver to complement Jackson Smith and Jigba. Jawan Jennings, New Orleans Saints. The Saints offense started coming together in the second half under rookie QB Tyler Shuck. Knowing how wide open the NFC South is, the Saints front office should be aggressive in free agency. Finding a number 2 receiver to help Chris Olave is one of the Saints' main offensive priorities. Jennings put up strong numbers despite being stuck in a star-studded San Francisco 49ers unit. Better believe that he can elevate his game in a Kellen Moore coached offense. Deke Woolen, Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs secondary needs an overhaul, and they're likely to lose reliable corner Jalen Watson in free agency anyway. Andy Reid loves his reclamation projects, and Woolen, fresh off a Super Bowl 60 victory, will seek a fresh start. He's been shaky in coverage since earning Pro Bowl nods as a rookie in 2022, but perhaps Reid and defensive whiz Steve Spagnuolo would help Woolen regain that all-pro caliber form. Wan'Dale Robinson, Pittsburgh Steelers. With Malik Neighbors missing most of 2025, Robinson stepped up for the New York Giants and turned in a career year. The 25-year-old speedster caught 92 passes for 1,014 yards and 4 touchdowns, and now it is time to cash in. DK Metcalf was Aaron Rodgers' only reliable pass-catching threat last season, and even Metcalf is better suited for a WR2 role at this phase of his career. Fit in Pittsburgh just makes way too much sense. John Franklin Myers, Miami Dolphins. With Miami cutting Bradley Chubb and already shipping away Jalen Phillips at the trade deadline, the pass rushing depth is very thin for new head coach Jeff Hafley. Franklin Myers is coming off a superb 2-year stint with the Broncos, logging 14.5 sacks over those 2 years. He can join forces with rising star Chop Robinson and give Miami a new pass rushing tandem with Phillips and Chubb long gone. Bradley Chubb, Carolina Panthers. Chubb adds more star power to the edge rusher market and should draw plenty of interest. Panthers won the NFC South despite Derek Brown and Nick Scortons sharing the team lead in sacks with only 5 apiece. Adding Chubb to the mix could turn Carolina's front 7 into a strength and help them close the gap with the NFC's top dogs. Quay Walker, Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are sure to make plenty of big moves after an embarrassing 2025 season. All the hype is on the inevitable number 1 pick Fernando Mendoza, but we remind the Raiders to stay focused on fixing the defense first. Walker, a supremely athletic linebacker and former 2022 first-round pick, never fully lived up to his potential in Green Bay. A fresh start is in the cards. Malik Willis, Miami Dolphins. It's been reported that the Dolphins are fully ready to move on from Tua Tagovailoa. With this year's QB draft class awfully weak, Miami's best bet may be to take a chance on one of the few somewhat appealing free agent QBs. Willis has played well in relief of an injured Jordan Love over the last 2 seasons, so Miami may as well see what Willis could do in a new-look offense featuring Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane. But hey, which top 2026 NFL free agents do you hope your favorite team will land? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then hey, clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.